Welcome to the quest for the green ball, Òrdugh Truaillidh. We have another week of chaos. What's happening? Ate something weird. I don't know. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Let me start over. Welcome to the quest for the Welcome to the quest for the green ball, Òrdugh Truaillidh. I am having deja vu. I thought I already recorded this. Kind of remembered a strange dream I had. I don't know. I think the story's getting to me or something. Some sort of crazy stuff. But what else is getting to me is the wild battles we have going on in our league. We did have 4 teams say goodbye to playoff chances, including my squad, but somehow no playoff berths were clinched, and division title races are still heating up with 2 weeks to go coming up. One of the teams in a divisional title race in the wetlands of our own division was the host in our last The Siamese Catz traveled to take on risky business at the forests of Truaillidh. According to NFL.com, the Dreamcats were throat punched in this one. While I think that wording is a little harsh, computers, Risky Business was the better team and a 108.64 to 71.56 win. Christian McCaffrey was the star with 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, and TJ Hockenson also reached the end zone. The Cowboys' defense continues to be unbelievable thanks to Deron Bland, who had another pick six to help Dallas score 19 points here. Kyler Murray was also solid with a couple of scores, including a rushing touchdown. Tony Pollard had another nice game for the Dreamcats with 103 yards and a score, and CeeDee Lamb found the end zone again with 53 yards, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. Those 2 Cowboy stars led the Dreamcats. Brock Purdy did throw a touchdown for the Dreamcats, but he also scored 18 less points than the average from the last 2 weeks. Our highlighted players both had interesting games, though. Let's look at them. Jahmyr Gibbs surprisingly struggled for the Lions with just 73 yards, mostly in garbage time against the Packers. That could have hurt. On the other end, Drake London actually had a decent game for the Catz with 91 yards. The real problem was the overall lack of touchdowns for the Catz. Just couldn't keep up with Risky Business. Risky Business moves to 7-5 and is just a game back in the division now. The Dream Cats fall to 4-8 and are eliminated from postseason contention.
Hey everybody, back at it again. Third week in a row, game of the week. Big division matchup here against Green Acres, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sweating. So playoffs look likely, but really shooting to obviously win the division would be the best thing. First round bye, not counting on that, but not counting it out would be awesome to have that as well. So we need some big performances this week. Hopefully guys can stay hot. Hopefully some of those pickups I had to kind of swap in some injury guys and things will pay off in the long run, but we'll see where it takes us. So we battle on, and hopefully we can make it to the ship, and we'll see what happens. All right. Really good week, everyone. But again, hopefully my luck's just a little bit better.
The rest of the league had some major outcomes that set up the final 2 weeks of the season as well. Let's get to them in the best of the rest. Traveled to Cascade Isle to take on the defending champion elite Mother Tuckers, and for the third time in 4 matchups, it was Green Acres who came away with the victory. Keep them in first place, of course, with the win and pushing the Mother Tuckers into must-win territory. This was not even close. The Green Acres crushed the Mother Tuckers 143.16 to 92.78. CJ Stroud was a monster with 304 passing yards, 47 rushing yards, and 3 scores. Kyron Williams returned from injury and lit it up with 204 yards and 2 scores. Jonathan Taylor had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also injured his thumb and will miss the next few weeks, and a big blow for Green Acres. Tyreek Hill dominated again with 104 yards and a score, and Brandon Cooks added 72 yards and a touchdown. The Patriots' defense also had a solid game, only 10 points allowed, 6 sacks, and a fumble recovery. Josh Jacobs had 125 yards and a 50-plus yard touchdown to lead the Mother Tuckers. A.J. Brown also reached the end zone, though another down game for him, and D.J. Moore collected 114 yards. Green Acres is now 8-4, and while not officially in the playoffs yet, it looks pretty good after getting this tiebreaker. The Mother Tuckers fall to 6-6 and need to win out to make the playoffs now. Look, Peaks of Vault gets a shake-up as well with a new first-place team. The previous first-place team, and remember the Titans, traveled to take on Air Jordan at the Caves of Brone Diomir and fell 121.64 to 87.78. Dak Prescott had another monster game for Air Jordan with 331 passing yards, 10 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. Derrick Henry finished with 76 yards and 2 scores. Alvin Kamara added 119 yards, and Michael Pittman collected 107 yards. Showing off those trades. Tank Dell, another trade pickup, picked up 62 yards and a touchdown, and Najee Harris had 99 yards and a score. David Montgomery had 71 yards, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion for, remember, the Titans. Brandon Ayuk added 50 yards and a score, and Jalen Waddle picked up 114 yards. Trade pickup Sam Laporta did have a touchdown, which is nice, but it wasn't enough here. Air Jordan moves to 5-7, but is eliminated anyway from the postseason because of the potential tiebreakers left on the table. Remember, the Titans falls to 7-5 and is now in second place in the division, also barely hanging on to a playoff spot in 6th overall. In the other divisional matchup, the multiple scoregasms traveled to take on the Stellar Bitches at the Purple Skies of Dache, and the Stellar Bitches moved into first place for the first time all season with a 99.2 to 77.06 win. Bijan Robinson is coming to life down the stretch as he finished with 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Dolphins' defense added 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, a touchdown as well. Rashad White had 110 yards. Trevor Lawrence had a couple of scores for the Scoregasms, and the 49ers defense stepped up with 6 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. The Stellar Bitches are now 8-4 and a game up in the Peaks of Valk. The multiple scoregasms fall to 5-7, but are not technically eliminated from the postseason yet. They still need to win out and get a lot of help. In the flatlands of Skell, Bandidos del Rio hosted Loki Lebowski Thor at the deserts of Metlu and won a high-scoring game, 117.52 to 107.7. Bandidos had his trade pickup step up big here. Raheem Mostert had 94 yards and 2 scores, and Deebo Samuel finished with 94 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans also played well with 70 yards and 2 scores, and Chris Olave added 114 yards. Patrick Mahomes had 2 touchdowns as well. Jalen Hurts easily led Lebowski Thor with 5 touchdowns to score over 40 points. Calvin Ridley also found the end zone with 89 yards, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. Tyler Bass and the Steelers' D combined for 25 points. Bandidos is now 8-4 overall and is still a game up in the division, with multiple tiebreakers currently going his way. Lebowski Thor falls to 3-9 and is obviously eliminated from the postseason. Lastly, my Gashgia Slews hosted the Clash at Demon Head at the foggy fields of Aslignan. My playoff hopes were obliterated in a 125.46 to 69.58 beatdown. Josh Allen was a maniac with 339 passing yards, 81 rushing yards, and 4 touchdowns, 2 of them rushing. Isaiah Pacheco added 89 yards and 2 scores, and Chuba Hubbard had 92 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Reed also scored, and the Jets' defense had a pick 6. Devontae Smith had 106 yards and a touchdown, and Stephon Diggs had 74 yards and a score as the lone bright spots in a disappointing loss for my Slews. The Clash at Demon Head are now 7-5 and just a game back in the division with 2 weeks to go. My Slews fall to 4-8 and, as I said, eliminated from the postseason race.
We're now headed into the final stretch of games here, and we have an upcoming game of the week with a first place battle between Green Acres and Risky Business coming up. I announced this game of the week on my Instagram this past week. All 3 divisions are still up for grabs, and of course we may have all postseason berths clinched with 8 teams still alive for 6 spots. But it is the divisional races and first round bye races that will have all of the uncertainty most likely in these final 2 weeks. Let's take a look at the standings. In the flatlands of Skell, only 1 game separates Bandidos del Rio and the Clash at Demon Head, and they play in week 14. Bandidos can still clinch the division this week with a win or a loss by the Clash at Demon Head based on tiebreakers. In the Peaks of Ulk, the Stellar Bitches have taken over first place over Remember the Titans, but Remember the Titans does have the tiebreaker at the moment with both teams playing again in week 14. The Stellar Bitches can clinch the division with a win and a Remember the Titans loss this week though. In the Wetlands of Arone, Green Acres holds a 1-game lead over Risky Business, and both teams play this next week as mentioned. Risky Business has the tiebreaker, so a win this next week would mean they would take over first place. Risky Business can win out to win the division based on this. Green Acres can clinch the division with a win this week, however. And the first round byes are all close as well, with different tiebreaker scenario possibilities depending on who actually claims the division title. It is certainly going to be a wild finish. What is that? My head. That was weird. Maybe I'm just upset with my season. I'm gonna... No. This is like that weird dream I had, but that would mean